Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Nicole Holland Show. I'm your host, Nicole Holland, and I'm really excited to be hanging out today with my friend Marisa Murgatroyd. And she is just getting into her annual launch of her Experience Product Masterclass, which is pretty impressive and pretty amazing. And so we're going to talk about that today, kind of why she created it and how it's been developing over the years and what is in store for this year, because I'm proudly an affiliate and excited to promote her. This woman has got she's just got it dialed in. And so hey, Marisa.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Do you see this in these guys
Yeah,
were like totally chilled out somewhere else, and as soon as I started talking to you, they're like, oh, it's time to interrupt. So that's
nothing
that
that a
life.
good scratching yourself isn't going to make a podcast better.
Yes. So yeah, for those of you who can see this on the YouTube, um, my cats are in here. But anyway, so yes, you are at time of recording a few days away from starting the launch. How are you feeling about that?
All good. I mean, this is our fourth annual launch. It's done super well 4 years in a row. And I know that tens of thousands of people, last year we had about 30,000 people opt in and get massive value from the free trainings and content we create, and a lot of them signing up to work with us more. So I feel good. This is an optimization year versus a reinvent the wheel year. And I actually prefer reinvent the wheel years in the sense that it's more fun as a creative than optimization, but optimization is a lot easier.
Yeah, that's so great. And for those who have been with me since the beginning, and I talk about you all the time. In fact, it's funny. Yesterday, I was being interviewed for a podcast that I had no idea they were interviewing you right after me, because I had actually mentioned you to them when I was talking about the summit that really launched my business, and how I was inspired by you. And then later on in the interview, they're like, oh, Marisa. And I was like, oh, how funny. So, yeah, big love to you. And it's always impressed me how you take an idea really at the cusp. Really, you're an innovator, a disruptor. You're doing things in digital marketing before others are doing it. It's like you're creating time is actually optimizing what is already out there in new and innovative ways. So I would love it if you can kind of talk about with the Experience Product Masterclass, and I am saying that right?
Yep.
Okay. um, you when you decided to do this, why did you decide to do it? What was the catalyst for that? And before you tell us that, can you just give a quick synopsis of what that is today, and then we'll just backtrack and get more into it.
Yeah, well, basically, I teach people how to design, market, and make $2,000 or a whole lot more from an experience product. And so, what is an experience product? It's not an information product. So, the reason why I decided to create it is that I had heard that up to 97% of people who buy any kind of online education, training, course, or program do not complete it and get the results. And I was seeing that in my own programs many years ago. People were buying, they would just kind of get a few trainings deep, and then they would just sort of drift off and I wouldn't see them again. And I wasn't all that happy with that. And I remember asking a colleague if that was happening to her as well. And what she did just changed my life forever. She said, Marisa, maybe some people just aren't meant to succeed. And I felt that was a punch in the gut because I believe that every person is meant to succeed given the right education, mentorship, circumstances, environment. Every single person can succeed. But the numbers showed that people clearly were not succeeding using online education, especially, info products, home study programs without any kind of support. And I was also seeing that those kinds of pure home study programs were starting to decline in sales up to 7% a couple of years ago, last time I checked. But at the same time, the overall sphere of online education is increasing. Like Forbes magazine expects it to be a $325 billion a year industry by the year 2025. So tons of people are doing online education, but very few people are doing it well because most people are doing it from the perspective of being an expert, wanting to share something or teach something, versus an expert in how do you get people to engage and how do you get them results How do you actually facilitate an experience that leads to the desired result or outcome for someone? And so I just started to experiment and become obsessed with how do I reinvent online education around the world. So engagement and results become the norm and not the exception. And I developed a methodology I call the experience formula that consistently gets 10 to 30 times the industry standard engagement and results for the people who go through it. And you may ask, well, why does that even matter? Well, when people don't get results, they're, potentially going to refund. They're not going to refer you. They're not going to buy again. They may leave bad reviews, right? So your business doesn't grow. But when people get the results that you promised, they want to buy from you over and over again. And, for the healthiest businesses on the planet, up to 80% of sales come from the back end sales, meaning the second sale, the third sale, the fourth sale, you name it, right? And so it's hugely short-sighted to just focus on marketing and selling, but not focusing on delivering the result or the transformation. And that's a lot easier if you've got a one-on-one coaching business, consulting business, service business. It's harder as you're starting to reach lots of people, thousands of people potentially. And so I just set about to solve that problem. And, the results that we've seen have been extraordinary. And we've, taught thousands of people, including industry leaders across all these different kinds of industries, from people who are totally new, never created anything before, to people who've got lots of product lines. And it's just consistently over and over again, this fusion of adult learning theory, psychology of motivation, gamification, user experience, all the things that I put in there just really work to get people hooked on taking action and getting results through your programs.
Awesome. And as this is your fourth year, and it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you've hit a stride. It seems like last year it was like, okay, we're good. And I have no doubt that there's going to be some change, like some bettering for this year's program as well. But can you take us back to year one, like the first time you did it? I believe you did it a smaller launch, more quiet, and kind of prove some things, and then took it to that next level, and then took it to that next level. I wonder if you can talk about, number one, why you do things like that, and the iterative process. And number two, kind of your, not observation, but what kind of things did you notice that you thought, "Ooh, we can do better. Ooh, we can do better. Ooh, we can do better."
Well, I don't go into anything thinking I'm going to do it small, for the most part, but I do recommend an iterate your way to awesome process, in the sense that, once you produce a large volume of work, and we tend to produce a large volume of work, you've got to let go of perfection, because, even what would be my 70% might be somebody else's 150% anyway. And I know that everyone is their own worst critic. But, I like to just see, how is this going to work? And I wouldn't say our first launch was small. We did about $750,000. I mean, our third launch did 1.5. So I guess it was half the size
comparatively
of our third launch, but it was primarily because we had less partner support. We didn't spend as much money on ads. Once you prove a concept, it's easier to get bigger partners and be willing to spend six figures on ads, when at first, if it's an unproven concept, I'm like, 20 grand still feels really scary here to spend, but once you know the ROAS, the return on ad spend, you can start to kind of spend more and feel comfortable spending more. I was able to, after I saw the incredible results in launch 2, by launch 3, I had a $50,000, grand prize package. Well, actually $100,000 prize package, 50 cash and 50 agency services. And that was able
for your affiliates, for your partners.
For my affiliates. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that would attract a higher level of person, but who's also, promoting harder than they would have. And one of my colleagues actually told me, well, Marisa, 20 grand just isn't very motivating as a prize for someone who's got a very big business. And 30 grand isn't that motivating either. So I actually had to be like, oh shoot, am I so confident that I can do a $50,000 cash plus $50,000 service prize package, and then the second prize is 30,000 or whatever it is, or 25, I can't remember exactly, and the third might be 10. So all in, all the cash that's going out is $100,000 in cash just in prizes, not to mention commissions. So it does take a certain amount of confidence in the model before, I was willing to put that kind of hard cash on the line. And you got to pay your partners. Like I'm known for paying my partners within days of the launch ending, because I know The speed at which I pay people and the size of the checks are going to determine how many people promote me, the next year around. So part of it's just like proving out the concept. And once I prove it, I can get a lot bolder around how much I can invest to make that money. And it does sometimes take money to make money. And you have to be willing to invest a certain amount. And I've just become bolder in my investments more than anything else, as I saw that I had something that, really sold well, but also really delivered once people bought.
For sure. And the way you treat your partners, I mean, this goes back to, things that I had seen and noticed about you. I think this is just who you are and how you operate in the world. I don't think you could do it any other way. But you even like it's the summit time. It's like you went above and beyond. And that's one of the things that just impressed me the most about you. It's like you really got into how can I, or I'm assuming you did, how can I make this so juicy for a speaker, so juicy for a promotional partner, so juicy for a recipient. And it's something that again and again, I strive to model from you.
Yeah.
And talking about investment and just really your confidence and being bold and proving. I haven't checked this year, but in the past, I believe you actually guarantee, not just like a lot of people say, well, we guarantee results as long as you do the work and you do this. And if you don't, then we'll make it right or whatever. But you actually give people their money back if they win. Is that right?
Yeah. So if they lose,
If they
basically.
lose. Okay.
Well, actually, I do give them money back if they win too. So basically, we've got our guarantee is that, the promise of the program, and then it's what I call a product mission. And you want a product mission that's so clear, it's almost binary. There's no room for doubt whether someone achieved it or not. So our product mission is, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to design, market, or make a $2,000 or a whole lot more from an experience product in 10 weeks or less. And if you don't, we've got the $2,000 can't fail guarantee. So if you do the work and you can demonstrate that you've done the work and you don't make the money, we will pay you the difference. So if you make $1,000 instead of $2,000, we'll give you $1,000 back if you go through the guarantee process.
So
So
with it's like basically for the person investing in the program, it takes away all risk.
yeah,
Like they only have an upside as long
yeah.
as they're willing to do the work.
And the vast majority, the reason I do it is the vast majority of people who actually do the work are going to get the result, And if they don't, they deserve their money back. And I do have something too, because we gamify the whole course delivery, is I create this Live Your Message currency. It's called Superbucks. So I give people back 10% of what they earn up to $1,000. So if someone earns 10 grand through the program, and we've had people earn like over 300,000 in the program, I'll give them $1,000 that they can either use towards future training with Live Your Message or donate into the Live Your Message Foundation to support someone who wouldn't be able to afford to go through the program, to be able to go through the program. So, they've only paying two, and well over half of that is cost, well, like I would say we might be making 20 or 30% at the end of the day. So a lot of people have these dollar signs in their eyes when they hear $1.5 million launch.
But you're giving so much away to your partners. You're
So
giving
much to the partners, so much in ad
ads.
spend,
Yeah.
sales team, coaching team, because every single person gets a coach that's reviewing their milestones to make sure they're making progress. And then, I do incentives for students. So I'm giving them money towards other programs. We're sending them t-shirts when they win in our jump contest. All of that stuff costs a good money. And then, the team to support it all. So it's all good because I'm in this for the long run, and I look at the lifetime customer value, not the value of from a single sale. And if I give an extraordinary experience, people are going to want to buy from me over and over again. I got a good reputation and all of that. There's always going to be people who complain because that's just what they do. But yeah, I
Can't
think
please everyone.
we,
But
for the amount of money we charge, have the best value out there,
absolutely.
and support.
And it's as you said before, there's so much value in the pre-launch content, and it's just something that I wanted to dig into more about the actual like how you run this and what you put into it and the investments and everything, because I don't think this is normal. I haven't seen other people do this. This is
Yeah. Well,
people do bits and pieces, but to the degree that you do, and again, I see you really as an innovator and a disruptor and somebody who's so forward thinking and holistic minded, as well as you said, you're long term. And I think that's something missing in society today, especially with the speed of the internet and the, we're all connected, but so disconnected really from the human experience and the way you give your partners, your students, everyone an experience of an experience that so meta that that they can then go on and be inspired by and give to their students. It's like, for me, the way I see that is you're really a change maker, and in a way that is so very profound and important as we continue to grow this online education space.
Well, thank you. I mean, the way I look at it, like back to the Superhero Summit days, which is what you've been referencing. At the time, I think when I did my first summit, I think it was 2013. And even then, it felt like I was getting summit invites right and left and not accepting any of them because most of them were like an obvious, like list build for whoever was doing it. There was no clear benefit for me. And someone came to me and actually asked if I wanted to do a summit. And I'm like, the only way I'll do a summit is if I have a really good idea for a summit. And, I basically thought about it and then I generated an idea. It was just like in the back burner. I wasn't even seriously considering it. And I came up with the idea of creating a superhero summit where I turn all the presenters into superheroes. We did it on live streaming Google Hangouts on air. This was, and everything was telesummits over audio, right? With no video.
This is before Facebook Live existed.
This was like live streaming video was almost non-existent. And it was the very first year Google Hangouts on Air came out. It was so buggy and so glitchy. And even getting it hooked up to like YouTube properly was massively tech prohibitive. But I was like, how could I do a video summit without using video? So decided to go all in and do it this way so people could come live and interact and engage with me and with the participant. We did them all live without a safety net. And just started to think about like what's going to make this irresistible for partners. And that first year, I mean, I had like 3,000 or 5,000 people on our email list, and I got, Andy Jenkins, James Wedmore, Don Crowther, Jason Fladlin, and I got all these people on my summit that usually a newbie wouldn't be able to get because I did very custom invitations that I recorded. We got these drawings done, very, very high quality drawings done even before they said yes, and I sent it to them. So they already saw that I went through that effort and just got a huge amount of yeses. But I always look at what is the environment that I'm actually marketing in. A lot of people are just like, let me just market doing what everybody else does. But I'm looking at, well, actually, how can I do what everybody else is not doing? Because there's so much noise out there. How am I going to overcome the mental opt-out people have when you're saying the same thing in the same way as everybody else? So I got to look at, okay, given that there's 2 billion plus websites online, given that everyone and their grandmother is doing a product launch or a summit, if I'm going to do that, how can I do it in such a fundamentally different, interesting, and unique way that people are like, holy smokes, I want to pay attention to this. And I don't do anything if I basically, can't come up with that. Like I've been, people have asked me to write a book for years and years because I'm a writer and I love to write. And the fact that I haven't written one is kind of shocking because I've probably written 20 books worth of content. But unless I have that book, I was like, if I'm going to write a book, to me, a book is a fundamentally different kind of medium. It's not a calling card. It's not a business card. It's not something you write in a weekend or 24 hours or what all those promises is. For me, a book is something that moves like human thought forward. It's also something that's got to be what I call a damn good read that you don't want to put down. It's like the thing that you start that you get just sucked into. And then, 5 hours later, you're still reading it. Like that's the only kind of book that I'm willing to write. And it's the reason I haven't written one yet. And when I have that idea and when I understand how can I even experientify a book? Like I will probably write, I don't want to give it away. So I can't tell you, but I've got different
ideas.
Tell
me offline, okay?
Yeah, how I can subvert the whole book, expectations that people have around a book. How can I bring a book to another form? But I do that with everything. It's like, whether it's a summit, whether it's a product launch style, PLF style launch, it's like, how can I take the form to a new level? And I'm an artist, I'm a creative. And so that's kind of the way that I think about things. But I think in this world, if you're not, people are like the best ideas, the best products, the best marketing, they win. And so you've got to have all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody can tell why you're so inspiring to me. It's amazing how fast this time is flying. We still have a bit of time left, but I want to make sure we do talk about how you are
Experientify.
experiencifying things for folks who aren't buying, right? Because of course, the objective of a launch, you want to, at the end of the day, you want to sell your program, and you want people to become clients and customers and students and advocates and all of the things. You want them to have an experience with you and change their lives to make their lives better, etc.
Right.
However, um, you you know, lots of people go and create great content for the pre-launch and give that away. But I think you really take that to a new level, and you seem to actually want everybody who goes through your free content in the pre-launch, it seems like you really want them to have an experience and have a
Yeah,
result, even if they don't wind up buying. So
absolutely.
can we talk a little bit about this? Because I'm going to release this in line with your launch
Yeah.
so that people can actually go get the stuff. And I'll just drop that right now. If you go to thenicoleholland.com/Marisa, Marisa, you will get whatever her most current offer is for her content.
Yeah.
But if you could just share like a little bit of a glimpse of what the experience of people going through your launch content
Yeah.
is going to be.
Well, let me share a few philosophies first because I remember in high school, I mean, I was kind of a difficult teenager, like probably many of us were, you know, but in high school, I remember being so frustrated by school. Like I would go into class and I felt like the teacher was wasting my time and maybe even, underestimating my intelligence, right? And so, and I was just baffled by the fact that these teachers could have 30 people, 30 kids in a classroom and waste the time of 30 kids without thinking about it. When I calculated out the amount of life energy and potential that was being wasted in some of these classrooms, it was just sort of shocking to me. And of course, I did no hesitations or reservations with going and telling my teachers I thought they were wasting our time. Right? That's where I became like the difficult teenager. Um, but this is the sort of thing that I don't believe in wasting anybody's time. I don't like it when people waste mine, and I don't want to waste anybody else's. So if I'm going to have 40 minutes of someone's time, I'm really going to think about how do I optimize that 40 minutes of their time? How do I give them something that's going to change something for them at least in that 40 minutes? And, there's an expression that says, is what you're about to say better than the silence? And I don't think a lot of people, especially in our, Instagram, Facebook world, really ask themselves, is what I'm about to post, is what I'm about to say better than someone's say mental silence? If I can't improve on silence, why am I speaking, right? So if I can't add something in that 40 minutes that is going to be fundamentally just groundbreaking for someone, why am I bothering to do this at all? And so that's a perspective that I come from. And I think a lot of people, when they think about marketing, they think about marketing, which is on the surface what marketing is the way you attract new customers into your business or the way you re-engage existing customers. And when you think about it that way, it just ends up being the voice, the strategy, set of practices and tactics that you use on a regular basis to attract clients. But I actually believe that marketing is fundamentally different. And I look at marketing at a much deeper level. That marketing is actually the process of helping someone create the mindsets, beliefs, and conditions that they need to make a change in their life that they want, but they're not able to attain on their own. And if you look at why people don't buy, they don't buy it because they don't believe. Usually they don't believe in you, or if you're out of alignment with what you're saying, or they don't believe that they can get the result that you're promising. So my marketing is designed to help them attain that self-belief and also to start winning, to get some results in advance so that they feel like they're gaining self-confidence and belief as they go through my campaign, not just in me, but in themselves. And if I can start that transformation early, then what they're saying yes to isn't necessarily my product. They're ultimately saying yes to themselves and what they want in their life. So if I want customers who aren't just handing me money, but who are going to do the work, I've got to start the transformation process in the marketing campaign itself. And I don't think a lot of people really think that through. So my goal isn't just to extract money, to like shake people upside down and hope some money, drops out of them. My goal is for them to get what they want. And so I've got to start that process in the marketing, in the marketing essentially. So people are self-identifying their what they want, but they're also building the belief that they can do it, and they're building their commitment. Because I'm not just after the money. I'm after the result for them.
Obviously. I mean, again, it's obvious from my end, and now for my listeners, as we've gone through, like, your investments in what you're doing and how you do it and everything. It can't be about the money, right? If you were money focused, although money is important, but I think if you were dominantly money focused, you would not be doing the things. I think you're focused on, like you said, long term and transformation. And I think the more we help people achieve their goals, the more wins they get, the
Yeah.
more other lives they can change. And it's just as a former documentary filmmaker, I think you're very brilliant, and you have a very great business mind and strategy, but I think also you have a heart for service at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of at the end of the day how I gauge my success. And, you know, Zig Ziglar said that you can have everything you want in life if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. And I believe that and I follow that. So my job in my marketing and in my products is to help you get what you want. And when I do that well, I end up making lots of money and living in a beautiful house and having everything that I want. But if I were to focus on how do I get what I want through you, it's not going to work out so well.
I love that you said that, through you. And that's what I see so much. And my big thing is podcast guesting, and I'm doing some new content around that now, and it's like I keep kind of drilling that in, where it's like I feel like in my industry, and just in, again, society in general, people are looking for, how do I get what I want through you, opposed to with you or for you or in collaboration, so that it is that win-win-win.
Totally. Yeah.
Well, my dear, we've got to wrap up. Do you have any final words you'd like to share with my audience before we do?
Well, I think that Zig Ziglar quote is a good way to end. You can have everything you want in life if you'll just help enough other people get what they want.
Absolutely. And I hope that this interview slash chat with Marisa Murgatroyd was, for you, my listener, helpful. I feel like if you are in the education space, or you're thinking about going into the education space, Marisa, correct me if I'm wrong, like, there's no kind of, you could be a beginner or you could be an expert, and everyone in between to go through your
Oh,
program,
yeah.
because it is experiential.
Absolutely. I mean, really, if you want to grow your business
Mhm.
through any kind of online product program course, this is essentially for you. And if you want to do it in a way that doesn't just sell more, but gets better results for people, because ultimately that will sell more, then, you know, I would pay attention to what we're about to release, which only gets released once per year. And I did pour my heart and soul. I pulled out all the stops. It is not the traditional talking head you're going to enjoy and just be like, whoa, what's going on here? Yes.
Yes. And it's only 10, like, the actual program is 10 weeks. So it's a big, right? It's a big promise to make your money back in 10 weeks. And like you said, you've had people make $300,000 in the 10 weeks and so on. So,
Well, technically, there's 3 break weeks over Thanksgiving and 2
oh,
over Christmas and New Year's. And we, you know, so we have a grace period as well. So technically, it ends up being like a 14-week period of time, but there's 10 weeks of the program. So,
got it. Well, in any case, it starts with the free stuff.
yeah.
So again, thenicoleholland.com/Marisa, Marisa. And that will take you to all of the good stuff for Marisa Murgatroyd. And yeah, you're welcome back anytime. So I hope we'll see you again in the new year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go out there and live your message.